Well, hello. In this video, I thought it would be interesting to have an in-depth look into my Elsa from Frozen 2 cosplay. This cosplay is based off her outfit in the second movie, her traveling outfit when she's going to the Enchanted Forest to find the voice that is calling her. If you don't know, and if you don't follow me on Instagram, I recommend you do, because if you follow me for a while, you knew that this outfit was basically the death of me. I had such a hard time making this cosplay because this is the cosplay of if it could go wrong, it went wrong. And from that, I had such a hard time making this specific outfit. I made dragons and giant peacocks and demons with shoulder pads, like all those giant costumes. But this more simple outfit is the outfit that took a lot out of me. I'm making this video because I think a lot of cosplayers don't show the hardship for making an outfit. They kind of show the good side, and I believe that we should tell everybody our success and failures so we can learn and grow in this community. So if you want to know how I made this Elsa outfit and you want a more in-depth look, I recommend staying in and watching this video. And you want more videos like this, I recommend subscribe. And there's a specific costume that I made that you want to see a more closer look, let me know in the comments below. Now let's get into it. So I thought before I do my cosplay breakdown of this costume, I'd give a little backstory of why I decided to cosplay this character. So if you don't want to listen to that, I totally understand. You can skip to this timestamp right here and you can dive right into the cosplay breakdown. But I just want to tell you the little backstory. So if you don't follow me on Instagram, I totally recommend you do, because we have fun over there. You can see all my progress photos of all my cosplays that I've made. But if you don't know, I'm not a Disney person. I have nothing against Disney movies. They're just not my thing. I mean, I do like some. I love Tangled and Fox and the Hound, and it pretty much stops there. I'm more into DreamWorks movies. So cosplaying Frozen was not on my radar for the longest time. I mean, when it first came out when I was in 5th grade, I'm a senior now, I was totally in love with Frozen. It was my thing. I bought a whole bunch of merch from it, right? And then I wanted me and my sister to dress up as Anna and Elsa so bad. I wanted her to be Elsa because she's the older sister, and I want to be Anna. But that dream it quickly died because my sister doesn't like Frozen, and I grew out of Frozen very fast. So I never get to cosplay Anna and Elsa for the longest time until the second movie came out. And I did watch it when it was in theaters. I did watch it with my mom and my sister. And the funny thing is, so you know in the first movie when Anna asked Elsa for 12 years if she wants to build a snowman, and Elsa always is like, no, go away, and then she builds one without her. That's how I felt a little bit. It's funny, I have nothing against my sister, I love her, but when I saw the second movie, I was not really interested in cosplaying Frozen, but she wanted to be Anna because she loved her traveling outfit. She's like, Tiffany, you should cosplay Elsa. And I was like, no, I feel like the tables have turned. But we went shopping for her outfit to buy the fabric, and she's like, if I could find the perfect fabric, because I'm really picky with my fabrics, for Elsa, would you cosplay her? I was like, sure. And so she found everything and she bought everything for me to make Elsa. And my brother laughs at that because the irony, and the bigger irony is that she's the older sister, my sister, cosplaying the younger one, and I'm the younger sister cosplaying the older ones, and I have the more of the personality like Anna, and she has the more personality like Elsa. So it's a little funny. My brother laughs at that. But yeah, during quarantine, I didn't want to leave my house, and I wanted to make a new costume, and I realized I had everything for Elsa because I kind of forgot about it because I bought the fabrics in November and it was May when I first started her. So that's a little backstory. My sister wanted to cosplay Anna, And so like, well, this is my chance. My little 5th grade dream. So that's why I cosplayed Elsa. So yeah, a little funny. I thought that was a little entertaining. So now let's go into the cosplay breakdown. Alright, so I like to say that my Elsa costume is cursed because I have a lot of strange activities and things goes on when I either was making this outfit or when this outfit is outside of the closet on this mannequin. But only with my Elsa costume. I like to say there's a ghost haunting this costume because just all the weird stuff that goes on with this outfit. Like today, when I'm filming this video, my SD card decided to be weird and not work. And I'm like, what? I use it all the time. I made a lot of other videos and I use this SD card. But when I decide to make my Elsa outfit video, it decides to be weird. So yeah, but anyways, back to the costume. I know that Elsa has a canon underdress design. And you can look at this, you're like, wow, it looks nothing like it. Because I simply did not want to make that outfit. I felt like that was another cosplay of itself because she had a different hairstyle when she was just wearing that dress by itself. So I thought it would just be easier on me to make a dress that fits my jacket because I made her canon underdress look and the jacket, they will not work well with each other. And my jacket is the main piece of this cosplay. So principally, this dress was made to be worn underneath my jacket so it will fit well underneath the jacket and not have some weird competition, I guess. So yeah, it was made to be with the jacket. So I have some white satin here. This dress has 2 layers. It has the satin base layer and it has the sparkly beaded fabric over it. So the white satin part is pretty simple. The dress pattern that I used, it was just a simple pattern, nothing technical about it. It just had a front bodice piece and a back bodice piece and a skirt, and the bodice piece was darted to fit my torso. So nothing crazy there. It was easy fabric to sew. The hard part was definitely, not the hardest part, we'll get there, was this beaded fabric because it's so heavy. This skirt right here, overlay, is a gather overlay with the beaded fabric, and this beaded fabric is really heavy and slippery because of the netting, because the netting holes are quite big, that it kept moving around when I was pinning it. So every time I tried to sew the gather, it would move around and be misplaced, and you can really tell that it was misplaced because some of the gathering was more gathered in one area and one gathering was less gathered in one area. So it took me about 4 times, a whole day, just to sew this gathered part. And when I first sewed this gathered part, this fabric, when you buy it, it has about like 6 inches of this plain mesh where the lines stop. So I decided to use that as my gathered part versus gathering on the beaded part. And I made that part too. I didn't cut it short enough because I'm really short. And so I really had to take that off the first time and then trim it and then sewed it on again. And that didn't work out, so I had to take it apart. It was this cycle of not working out. So that was my first problem that happened with this dress. And then when I came to this beaded part, it was fine. I was a little nervous because this fabric right here for the beaded bodice part was $50 a yard, and I don't care what you say, that's a lot of money. On fabric, per fabric yard, $50 is a lot, and this one was $30. So like I had some stress going on here, but this part was pretty easy. Connecting the bodice part to the skirt was very hard because again, they're heavy and I use satin and satin is slippery. And so it took me a couple times to connect the bodice to the skirt correctly, but apparently that didn't work out as well as I thought, because here comes the hardest part of this outfit, that it was so hard that my mom had to do it for me, and took her multiple tries as well, is that this outfit has a side zipper. It's a side invisible zipper. Show you. It's really hard. It was really hard connecting this to the seams. The reason why I decided to have a side zipper was on the back of this dress here. It's basically sheer, because in her jacket part, she has like an opening in her back. So I didn't really want to see people to see the underdress, so that's why I made a clear panel here. And I couldn't, because of this, I couldn't put a zipper here without it being shown. So that's why I decided to put it on the back. And that was a really bad decision. I mean, it worked well, but the reason why was because the pattern I used, the bodice and the skirt seams, like side seams, did not line up on either side. And so when you're putting in a side zipper, I want you guys to know that make sure that at least one of your side seams are both aligned. If not, you basically cannot put that zipper in. I don't know how my mom did it. She doesn't know how she did it either, because it took us a long time to figure out the zipper, because it didn't match up to where only for one other had to start over, but I didn't want to, because this dress was basically finished besides the zipper part. And my sister even came up and helped us with the zipper, but it didn't work out so well, but we managed to do it. So that's some lesson you can learn here. If you want to put a side zipper on a dress that's not designed for a side zipper, make sure the seams are aligned, because this dress pattern that I made obviously was not made for a side zipper. And as I mentioned here in the back, what I did was I cut out the back panel, and then I got some sheer mesh, and then I just sewed the mesh to the sides of each of these parts that's left, and I made a sleeve hole, and I connected it to this mesh piece. And this mesh piece is the illusion neckline, because Elsa has some little sparklies that go up her chest, so that's what I kind of recreate here. So yeah, that's the underdress. And another fun fact, if you guys wanted to know, when I made this, I made it during quarantine. Well, I'm still in quarantine or lockdown, because Washington still hasn't really opened up during this time. And I grew a lot. Puberty kind of decided to hit me during quarantine. So when I was making it, I was afraid that it wouldn't fit me anymore, because I grew a couple of places. But it did fit, but I went through this whole costume thinking it wouldn't fit me, and I was like on a diet and working out so it can fit my waistline. But it fits, it's all good. And fun fact, the zipper was so hard for me and my mom to put in. We started this costume in May of 2020, but we didn't finish. But the moment we couldn't figure out the side zipper, we decided to take a break and start a new cosplay project. I finished that whole cosplay. I finished the jacket piece, and we had the courage. We finally went back to the side zipper, which was basically in October. So it took about 4 months for me to finally have the courage to try the zipper again. So that's how hard it was. So yeah, now let's talk about the main piece of this outfit, the jacket. Now we're going to talk about the main part of this cosplay, which is her jacket. This is the part of the outfit that took me the longest, and this is the part of the cosplay that's also the most detailed. And this is also the cosplay where it had the most hardships in it. So yeah. So my goal of this cosplay was to make this outfit as close to the movie as possible, to where the placement of the rhinestones and glitter, to the embroidery and where they're placed, and the color of the embroidery, because I wanted this cosplay to look like if Elsa stepped out of the movie screen. and what she looked like in real life. So that was my goal of this outfit. I think I accomplished it. So yeah. So let's talk about this part first, which is her belt piece. Let me just take it off. So it's made out of cotton. It sparkles. And it has interfacing between the two layers to give it some stability. And it has embroidery on it. And the placement of the rhinestones and pearls are where the placement in rhinestone glitter and stuff is placed in her costume. Nothing really fancy about it. It is like, this is what her belt shape is. And on the back of the belt, it has Velcro, and that where it connects with each other when I'm wearing this outfit. So, now I'm talking about the coat now. The main piece of this outfit, or this cosplay. Sorry, I keep saying outfit over and over again. I keep missing cosplay. Is this jacket. A lot of Elsa cosplayers, or when you buy a lot of Elsa costumes from normal sellers, they have a lot of seams that goes on throughout the jacket to fit your body nicely and stuff. I didn't want to do that because in my mind, my opinion, it looks like a dress. And this part of the costume, the blue part, is not a dress, it's a coat. So I made it into a coat, basically. I made a coat, not a dress. I use a pattern from Simplicity. I'm not going to recommend it because it didn't work out so well. I recommend finding something similar to what I have going on here. So let's get in how I made it. So obviously I cut out my pattern pieces. Since I cut out in size large so I can modify it to my body. I'm usually a medium, but the way I wanted to make it was to adjust it if I needed to, and I knew that I would do a lot of modifying and I don't want it to be too small, and I knew that I was growing, so I made a size large. It fits me fine. And since this is sportswear fabric, what I would say as Joanne, I did pre-wash it because I knew that I'm going to be dyeing it and stuff, and I didn't want it to shrink. If using like any sort of cotton or anything that you know will shrink, pre-wash it, especially if you're going to dye it, because when you dye fabric, it does shrink. Not shrink, you do have to wet it. Sorry about that. So, after I cut out the pieces, you can't tell because you can't see the bottom, but I also some clips. There is a ombre that goes up from a darker blue to this blue, because that's how it looked in the movie. And so in order for me to dye it, I didn't want to dye as a whole piece. I dyed them in pieces and make sure they all have the same level of dyeing, which that part worked out fine for me. Not the actual dyeing part, but making it all even. So I knew that I don't know how to dye stuff, so I got a whole bunch of practice scrap fabric, and I practiced ombre dyeing. I got my bucket of dye, and I wet my fabric all the way, and then I grabbed the fabric and I just dip it in, dip it out, dip it in, dip it out in different sections throughout the time, and I make sure to start out when you dye it. I can make a whole dyeing tutorial. Sorry, every time I feel dyeing, I was like, I felt that, right? So I basically keep moving it until my desired ombre effect and pigmentation. And so so my test samples came out fine. So I'm like, oh, I felt confident, so I moved on to the main big piece here. And I wanted to make sure that my fabric to dye and my cosplay that already dyed were separate from each other, and that my two dye fabrics were not close to the dyeing station, because I didn't want to have some accidents happen on this fabric. Like, I don't want some random splashes of dye come on here when I'm dyeing it, or like if the wind blew the wrong way. So I make sure they're separate from each other. I even changed gloves every single time I dye a new piece of fabric, so I won't have a dye in the wrong places. But if you don't get the whole theme of this costume, the whole thing I keep saying, that didn't work out so well. because this outfit is cursed and so many things bad happened to it. So I dye my stuff outside. It's in the summer and it wasn't windy. So I had my dyeing station, and I made sure that none of my fabric besides the one that I was dyeing was near the dye, because I said I don't want no accidents. But of course, accidents happen. So what happened was, I dyed the back piece first, and I made everything align to the back piece. And then so I changed my gloves and everything, and I went to grab one of these side front pieces. And then I realized I had to make this clear. This was not near any of the dye. I found random blue specks. Oh, you can't really tell on this side. It must be on this side. Random blue specks. You can't really tell. I added some close-ups. Like somebody got a pen. They broke it and they splatted it on this outfit of the color of the dye. For some apparent reason, of course I did not know this before. All this, like when I cut it out, it's not the fabric. What I'm trying to say is, when I bought this fabric, it was clean. There's no mysterious stains or anything, and I make that clear. So when I grabbed this fabric and it was all wet and stuff, I had this mysterious blue stains all over this front pieces. And I had a panic attack. I tried to wash it out, did not work. And so I had this whole breakdown basically. I was crying because this is the main part of my costume. All this blue splatter was all over this costume. I'll show some clips. And I died inside, literally. And I was crying. My mom was like, "Know what? Just dye these pieces anyways. And then we can go to the fabric store tomorrow and buy you new ones." Because I was just devastated. And I keep telling my mom they're not going to have it, because this is discontinued fabric. This is a discontinued sportswear color from Joann's. Because I bought this in November of 2019, and I was making this outfit in July of 2020. So I highly doubt they would have that fabric again. And so I told my mom, no, they're not going to have it, and all that stuff. My dad almost went to the store to prove me wrong. And of course, they didn't have it. And so I was crying, and also got the worst news of my life during that time too, at that Joann's during that time. And it was not a good time. So, but I managed to hide it. Fun fact, this piece of fabric sewing is the wrong side of the fabric, because the blue stains mostly showed on one side, not the other side. So this is the wrong side of the fabric. You can't really tell. And so that's how I fixed it. And I covered whatever you can see through the wrong side, because this fabric is thick, with rhinestones. But yeah, I prefer that not happening. So after that, I waited my pieces to dry for a few days, because I let it dry, then I rinsed it to get the excess dye off, and then I let it dry again. I ironed it, and then I sewed the dress together. I just sewn the front pieces to the back pieces. I didn't add the sleeves or the collar yet. And during that time, mysterious brown stains were going on my costume. And I sound like I'm making these stuff up, but it's true. I have pictures. My parents were witnesses. I don't think I have the pictures. I don't know where they are. But these like puke stains were basically on this area, right? And this is just the fabric. I didn't have the detail yet. Detailing it, it's plain base. And all this mysterious brown stains are coming up to this costume. And I'm just like, why? Why are these mysterious brown stains? I had to make this clear. That was not on my dining room table. And I do all my cosplay stuff mostly in my room. And I don't have food in here, because I'm not allowed to have food in here, right? So I don't know where these brown stains came from. And you can watch them in your very eyes, them appear on this this coat. I'm sorry if I mixed those up. I apologize. I keep mixing those up, but this is the coat, obviously. It's a coat. But all these brown stains start coming, and so I wash them off, and they show up again, and I wash them off, like hand wash it, into where I was like, oh my gosh. So luckily, those browns, I went to my mom, I'm like, all these brown stains keep coming up on this jacket. And she asked, do you have food in your room? Like, no, I don't have food in my room, because I didn't want to get bugs, and this was not in the dining room. When I was pinning it, I was pinning it on the mannequin itself, and the mannequin was clean and not dirty. And so, to get it worse, I managed to clean away those mysterious puke brown stains. I don't know where they came from, because they were not there before. And this type of fabric goes well with water. So, from those washings, I got water stains. And it looked like sweat stains. And there's nothing worse than looking like sweat stains, like full deodorant and all. So I had to constantly wash this costume because so many weird things goes on this costume, and I don't know how. I said it's the ghost. So yeah, that happened. But luckily, the stains went away the next day because I constantly had to clean it. So yeah. So I put the belt back on because I like it with the belt on, obviously. So after I figured out the brown stains, sorry, that was like so nasty. I sewed on the sleeves and I adjust the pattern to my body. So what happened was I just pinned it to my body, and I just, wherever my dips were, the pins were, and just sewn where the dips were. So it would fit my body a little bit better because I wanted less seams and bulkiness as possible. But there are some darts. The darts are in the back. You can't really see it because I didn't want the darts in the front because it covers by the cape. So yeah. So after I have the whole base together, that without the collar, just everything with the sleeves, right? My sister came down. Go follow her, as I keep mentioning. And she embroidered all of these for me. I have a whole bunch of embroidery all over this costume with the detailing in. It took us a couple of days to do that. And that part was a little weird because I did use some iridescent, because that is my little personal touch, iridescent white thread. And because it's so thin, it keeps breaking and it was a mess. But we managed to do it because my sister was still new at embroidery, so we're still like figuring out all the kinks to it, but we managed to figure it out, and that worked well. I think, in my opinion, there was some frustration, but it wasn't like it was a disaster or anything. So yeah, we embroidered it. It took a long time. It took like 3 days to do it. So thank you for that. And then after I embroidered everything, my sister made a applique. Oh, my Waluigi fell off. Where? Ghost, right? Anyways. So, here's another thing that went wrong with this cosplay, because there were so many. See, this is this beautiful snowflake applique that my sister made me. And during this part of my project, I was the master. I like to say I'm the master of sewing on appliques, because I made my Rapunzel outfit, and that outfit was basically just appliques, right? So like, I know how to sew an applique, but the problem is, I couldn't pin the snowflakes onto myself because my mannequin shoulders aren't as wide as my shoulders or as like thick, right? So I asked my mom to pin on the snowflakes for me when I'm wearing it, and I'm not gonna blame my mom. She didn't do anything wrong. It's just I didn't know that the snowflakes are a specific direction they had to go when my sister made it. And so I pinned them on, and I didn't realize they were pinned wrong until I finished sewing it, and I realized they both didn't look the same. I don't really know how to explain how they didn't look the same, but it's like right here. Here. I hate this mannequin. Give me a second. Is there's a slender side and there's a wider side, and this one I pinned it on the wider side, and this side I pinned it upside down because this is a specific way the underside, the middle snowflake part is supposed to go. And I didn't know that until after I sewn it, so I had to redo that multiple times. Not multiple times, but like I had to take this off, which was a whole day of work was sewing on these appliques, and then I had to basically re-sew it to the right place. And yeah, so that was very frustrating. I do have a picture of me being frustrated with that part. And then the next part of this, after I got that applique sorted out, I finally doing the part that I was most excited for, which was gluing on all these rhinestones, all this glitter that you see here, or as a closer look, are all rhinestones. I didn't want to like put glitter on it. I want every time it sparkles, it's a rhinestone. So I have multiple shaped rhinestones all over this costume, and that what made this costume expensive was all these rhinestones and pearls, because she has some blue pearls all over her costume. And I'll leave links to where I got all these rhinestones, so if you want it to be really, you want your Elsa to be really accurate with the shapes and stuff, I'll leave down below where I got all my rhinestones. So yeah, so I started out with the bottom rhinestones. I'll add a clip here. You can't, I'm so sorry that you can't see it because of where my camera is. Yeah, I just glued rhinestones on there with a specific pattern. I made the rhinestones being lines because that's how it looked like when you zoom it into her outfit. And then I glued with the size pearls. Now I kind of like, it was funny, I was gluing rhinestones in the right places. It took me about 40 hours. I hand glued all of these rhinestones on. Hold on, give me a second. I'll show you what glue I used because I totally recommend it. So the rhinestone glue that I used was the Duet glue. I used a whole bunch of tubes of this. I totally recommend, because I used this to glue on every single rhinestone on every single part of this costume, and none of them came off besides one or two, because that was my personal part how they came off. But I recommend using this glue. Of course, you can get at Joann's. You can use a coupon. If not, I'll leave a link to where you can buy this glue if you don't want to go to Joann's or you don't have a Joann's by you. See, like all this stuff is knocking over, right? Anyways, so I glued them all in place, and then these giant blue rhinestones here I hand sewed on, and on the sides here there is some diamond shaped rhinestones which she has on the side. Another problem, all of this are just problems, problems, right, all throughout this whole costume. Another problem I had was these sleeves, because since I use the sleeves hole is so huge, and I can't raise my arms a lot in this costume because I can't. I'm very restricted because the armholes are so huge. The armholes almost go down to my waist, and I don't know, that's why I don't recommend this pattern, because of the arm sleeves. On the back here, the back was quite successful. The back part was the part that I was most nervous about, because she has this opening here. And with this opening, I'm afraid that would mess up. But I got a rotary cutter and I just cut out the shape to my body so it'll look good. My sister helped me with that. And it came out well. This part came out bad, and I just added fray check on it. And I cut out the snowflakes to match her snowflakes on the back of her dress. And then her capes here, you can't really tell, but they're also ombre dyed. This is chiffon, and I had to use synthetic dye for it. So I have a bullet over my stove, and this does not dye well because it's so thin, and the it's not very thick, right? So it didn't take dye well. And I had some weird dye and water stains that come with it. I managed to fix it. I don't know how I did it, Because sometimes you just do things and you're like, oh, that thing worked out, and you don't remember how you do it. And here I have all the little detailing on her thing here. And since this fabric's so thin, I had to use those wash away interfacing when embroidering it. And I hate wash away interfacing because when you wash it away, it had the most grossest texture. It's like slime, it's like snot. It was really gross when you wash it away. But yeah, when I had to glue everything, glue the rhinestones to this fabric, I had to use parchment paper because as I say, it's so thin, and like the cells of the fabric, I guess, doesn't hold anything. So I had to use parchment paper. That's a good little hack, I guess. If you use thin fabric and you want to glue stuff to it, just use some parchment paper. So yeah, all of this is rhinestones. And along the sides, I did a roll hem. That was a little hard because I never did a roll hem, but it worked out fine. In the back here, I just sewed on the rhinestones in placement and glued them on. And I also had to use parchment paper for the back too because it's sheer. Next part of this costume was gluing on these little beads on the bottom of her skirt. As I said, you can't really tell, but I have some clips. They were pretty easy. I just measured how wide my skirt is, and then I divided by the inches. And I used about 30 beads for this costume. They're glass beads, and I just sewed them on. Nothing fancy there, but I love them. But yeah, that part was expensive. But this whole costume was expensive. And the last part of this costume that I did for the detailing, I have these giant clear rhinestones. They're glass rhinestones, and I got them off Amazon. And the problem I have with these rhinestones are not sewing them on themselves. It's their arrival. You see, I wanted this costume done by Halloween, and I was getting really close to that deadline when I was ordering these rhinestones because I couldn't find these giant rhinestones anywhere. I went to Michael's, Joann's, and Hobby Lobby, but they didn't have what I wanted, or they didn't have enough for the price they were giving me. And like, I already spent a lot of money on this costume already. So I've managed to find something on Amazon. I will give it a link below if I can find it again, but I really don't recommend it because, let me grab the pack of rhinestones. This right here, this little package of rhinestones give me so much trouble because I love Amazon, I love shopping on there, but the people who deliver on Amazon are dumb, okay? They can never read addresses. They always deliver my stuff to the wrong house. So I just ordered these little rhinestones, nothing else. And they keep delivering these rhinestones to different houses, and I constantly had to refund this product and keep buying more because they keep delivering it to the wrong house. I don't understand, because you can tell which house is which house in my neighborhood, right? And so I was doing this panic mode because I was getting really close to Halloween, and I don't have these giant rhinestones that I need for the bottom of the skirt, the middle of the belt. Let's scoot this forward a little bit. And the back of my dress. I mean my coat. Sorry. And I was like, I started panicking. But finally, somehow, I got a pack of rhinestones, but it took me like 3 weeks just to get to get to my right house. These little pack of rhinestones, they're like 10 bucks. I got like 30 of them. Okay, 50 of them. And like, they're beautiful. Like, don't get me wrong. But I kind of don't, like, I don't know if they keep delivering it from the wrong house because of the seller, because they give the wrong place. I don't know. Or because Amazon people can't understand my house area. But like, they're beautiful. They're glass beads, but I kind of don't want to recommend them because of my experience trying to get them. And the last part was the collar. This is a stand-up collar. First time sewing it, it went pretty well actually. That's probably the easiest part of this costume was this collar. I sewed it on no problem. And this bias tape I made myself. I got some blue satin, I got a bias tape maker, and then I sewed it on. Pretty easy there. And everything here, I forgot to mention, is serge, so it won't rain. Now I'm going to explain the last couple pieces of this costume. They're not be as in detailed as these, but they're still, because they're pretty simple. So I made a pair of light blue leggings. They're basically the same color as the coat. She wears light blue leggings. So I made a pair on the day of Halloween because I couldn't find light blue leggings anywhere, so I just made my own. Nothing fancy. I used the pattern that I use all the time. They're just simple leggings. The last part I'm going to talk about is her wig. Yeah, I love this wig. I want to buy another one just to have because it's such a good wig. It's an M style wig in the shade ash blonde. It's a lace front. I got mine on Amazon for $40. I believe at this current moment it's not in stock, but if it comes back in stock, I'll let you guys know. So go follow me on Instagram. But I love it. It's such a nice wig, and I totally recommend checking out InStyle Wig. I'll still leave a link for the Amazon shop. But yeah, it's my first lace front. Super nervous about styling this wig because I never really style wigs, but it came out pretty good in my opinion. I originally French braided it, but since every time I wear this costume, I had to redo the braid every single time. I kind of stopped French braiding it, and now it's just like a normal braid. But like honestly, you can't tell that much. And I cut some pieces shorter, and I did some little swirls to replicate her little webs, I guess. And I made some sideburns because I don't look like Elsa. I think that's pretty clear. I had tan skin, dark hair, and dark eyes and stuff like that. So adding these sideburns to cover my dark sideburns really helped. I am going to make an Elsa makeup tutorial that should come out right after this video, so be on the lookout for that. But yeah, I really like this wig, and all I can say, it wasn't that hard and it was pretty easy for me. And I did tease some of it to give it some more volume and give it more of a cartoon effect. So I did make Elsa's boots. I don't want to show you guys because they fell apart and they're really bad looking. I spray painted them, but I did everything properly, but they didn't work out. So I'm going to make new boots in the future when I wear her out in public to an event, but that's not going to be anytime soon. And I'm going to make boot covers. I might make a video. I might not make a video on it, but subscribe anyways. But yeah, that way I'm not showing you her boots because I recommend either buying Elsa boots or just make boot covers for them. So yeah, this is my little outro, my little moral or lesson or whatever you call it. If you ask me when I first finished this cosplay, when I completely finished her and I don't have to work on her, that was back in October. I'm filming this in February. If you ask me, do I regret making Elsa? Like choosing her as a character and making her. If you ask me when I first made her, I would say absolutely yes. I wish I did not choose her. I wish I had a different character. I wish I picked a character I'm more passionate about and stuff like that. Because from all the hardships and stuff that I went through making this cosplay, I'll be like, no, I did not want to make her. I wish I had a different character. But that's how I felt when I first finished her. But now I am done with her I finished her for a few months now, and I had some time to like think about her. I wore her and I had some I kind of don't hate her anymore, this cosplay, because I'm starting to get some really good memories of this cosplay. And even through all the hardships, she still came out really beautiful. I have a lot of good memories of this outfit. This is one of my brother's favorites. My dad took pictures of me in this outfit. My mom usually takes the pictures and she does fine, but my dad decided to take pictures of me and my sister that day when she was dressed as Anna, and we wore on Halloween, and we had a blast with that photo shoot, and I had some good memories from that. Since I'm in online school, when I have my cameras on, my teachers see this cosplay, and they were there when I was making it, going on these rhinestones, and kind of like, I like to call it, it's like the quarantine cosplay. This is a cosplay that brought everybody together. I give them my progress I have every single day. I used to show them pictures when it was done, and it made people like be excited for something, and so I brought that to them, and I got a lot of like positivity from this cosplay, and now I'm getting a lot of good memories, and how this cosplay brought a lot of people together during my online school during Zoom, and I'm glad that I get to bring this little joy every day from this cosplay. So yeah, so I'm glad I do have her, because she gives a lot of people a lot of great memories, and I know she's beautiful. She's very different from all the other cosplays I make. For the longest time I made like giant armor costumes, but now I'm doing more princess outfits. So I love that I have this in my collection. So yeah, I'm glad that I did make her, and I'm glad that I learned a lot of new things from making Elsa. So when I make more sewing cosplays in the future, or cosplays like this, I know what to do and what to improve on. So if you like this video, please hit that like button and subscribe. I do make cosplay content, and if I post every 2 weeks. So yeah, my next video is how I do my makeup for Elsa, because I don't look like her, but I think I nailed her makeup when I am her. And if you want to have another character of mine that I cosplayed, you want to see a more in-depth look of their outfit, let me know too. I can totally do that. And I hope you enjoy. I hope you didn't find this boring or cringy. And I'll see you all in my next one.